It's a rainy old Easter weekend, I'm stuck at home, so you know what guys, let's make a video about why I as a 28-year-old single male purchased a 2021 Land Cruiser Prado 150. Why did I do it? Isn't it a soccer mum's car though? So, let's talk about that. We're going to get all into the reasons why I purchased this in a logical list. And there's going to be a bit of ranting involved, and I think there's going to be a few comments as well. So strap yourselves in, it's going to be a good one. Let's roll the intro and let's get into it. So the first thing we have to talk about, guys, is the price of this vehicle. Yes, I know, it's a bit expensive, all right? I ended up paying around 70-ish thousand for this, but, a lot of people don't understand where the value is in it, A lot of people think that, it's just a big wagon, That's not just it, People will try to compare, Fortuners and MUXs to this as well, and they'll say, well, why wouldn't you just get an MUX when it's got so much more, like the Android and Apple Auto is better, they start comparing all sorts of different things. It's got leather interior, it's got this, it's got that. Yeah, okay, it does, but you have to drive it. When you drive it and you compare the difference of this compared to something like an MUX, you get it, The size on the interior is massive, and on the longer trips, it makes a huge difference. And it's probably not even that much bigger on the inside, but when you get in there and you're driving it around for long periods of time, it's like sitting in an armchair. Like the thing is so comfortable, and a lot of people don't get that, And for me, like, I'm traveling long distances. Like, I've done 10,000 Ks, and I've got another car and a bike, so I don't use this just as my daily driver. But I've done nearly 10,000 Ks in this thing. So, and that's just in like 7 months, which may not be much, like I said, to some of you guys, but when you divide that over the different cars, different car that I have and a motorbike here as well, that 10,000 Ks is quite a lot. And the stints that I do are always long. They're always like 4 or 5 hours or 2-3 hours or even just 2 hours, but the road will be quite rough. So the comfort of the interior and does justify the price quite a lot. But not only that, so keep the price in the back of your mind as we go through the rest of this list. So the off-road capability straight off the showroom floor, I have demonstrated. I have taken you guys along on tracks that I've literally bought the car, put the roof rack only on, that's it, and the and also a rear awning. And I've basically just taken that and gone straight out into the bush. And I'm talking the toughest tracks I've ever done, and tracks that a lot of people struggle to do. On stock tires, stock lift, stock everything. And this thing held up perfectly. It is such a capable vehicle straight off the showroom floor. Not only on the road, where it's super comfortable, but also off-road as well. So if it's got rear lockers, for those of you that are wondering and you don't have one, you're trying to get an idea of what I'm talking about. It's got center lock, it's got rear lock, it's got 4 high and 4 low, which is super easy to use. And because it's an auto, the one that I have here is an auto, it makes it so easy to have that throttle control as well. Some people are a little bit worried about the engine, like, 2.8 litres isn't enough. Trust me, it's plenty. All right, these things can tow, over 3 ton. They can do it fine. All right. Now, when it comes to towing, that's all I'm going to say. I've seen people and I've talked to people on here, and you guys say that it tows fine. So that's all I'm going to say. We'll be doing some towing, and I've got the other the Prado, which is the second build that I've got on this channel. we will be doing a lot of towing with that. And I've also got my dad who's going to be giving us a whole pile of information about towing and how these things go. So stay tuned for that. But just from my experiences, this is the perfect Prado build. If you are wanting to see what's been done to this, you can check it out. So that price, what people don't understand is that price gives you a very comfortable vehicle. It's very large with the wheel on the back. So this is a flat back model. If you want to know the difference between a flat back model and a wheel back model, we also made a video for that too. And the model with the wheel on the back is actually longer than a 200 series Land Cruiser. So that gives you an idea of how big these vehicles actually are. And it's quite shocking considering GVM. So you can save quite a lot of money by getting this vehicle because you won't have to upgrade the GVM if you do it smart. And it depends what you want to do, of course. But with the GVM, you can get the 7-seater, which is what I've got here, and you get the flat back model. If you take out the seats 6 and 7, and you save, with fuel and the fuel tank as well, you save something like 60-ish kilos as well. You've basically gained yourself back 100 plus kilos of GVM. So right off the bat, you probably will be fine in terms of GVM on this vehicle. From memory, it's something like 600 kilos from the factory you get of headroom. So this weighs something like 2,300, so 2,300 kilos, and the GVM on this is 2,990, something like that. I'll put the figures up there for you. So if you take out some of the seats and that sort of stuff, you've got heaps of headroom for GVM. So that's something that you probably don't have to worry about as a GVM upgrade on these vehicles, where I know a lot of other vehicles really run close to that GVM. The other thing we really need to talk about is reliability. I bought this car to be reliable. I've had cars in the past where I've actually been really lucky with my cars in terms of reliability, but I've had cars in the past where, especially my green truck, where it was costing me quite a lot of money to keep on the road, and I was over it. I was over going to, every time I want to service my car, it ends up costing me another $400 or $500, So I've got this car here, and the service is cap price, so I know what I'm getting myself into, and it's got a 7-year warranty. So I know what I'm going to be spending, how much money I'm going to be spending on keeping this car on the road. So when it comes to modifications, I don't have to worry about, I might not get that bull bar because I might have to spend $600 on fixing the electrics, which is what I had to do on my Navara. So I know what I'm getting into with the reliability of this. The other thing is the other vehicles like the MUX, for example, and I'm going to keep using that because a lot of people bring that up because it's got more towing and whatever. Tell me how many MUXs you see on the road from 1990. Because these vehicles were made in the 90s, and I see them and the series before it, before this one, the 120 series, I see these everywhere. So that tells me they're reliable. I also see the Prado 150s around. I see them everywhere now. And they're out in the bush, they're on the roads, they're everywhere. And they share a lot of parts very similar to Hiluxes, which means that I'll be able to get parts anywhere. And I haven't shared this with the channel before, but when I was deciding which vehicle I wanted to get, and I know they're very different vehicles, but that's just how my brain works, I was going to get a Jeep Gladiator. I was going to do a Jeep Gladiator build. And the reason why I didn't do that is because I didn't want to spend all my time trying to find parts for the thing and waiting for, parts to be sent and waiting for my car to be fixed. So I know people that have Jeeps and they spend a lot of time waiting for parts to be put on their cars. And you can say whatever you want, where I live, blah, 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 whatever. But from the people that I've talked to here in Cairns, there have been waiting times on getting parts onto their broken vehicles, or they needed a particular part and it needed to be fixed. And that brings me to the other thing. This model, Prado 150, the 150 model, This model has been around since 2009. It's now 2022. And I'm glad they haven't really changed much besides the headlights and a couple other things, because it tells me that they've ironed out all of the kinks. They've figured it out. And people look at that and be like, and I used to think the same way, is that when I had my old Mitsubishi Lancer and they had the CJ model of Lancer, and they ran that for years. And I used to think, when will they come out with a new one? But I think as I've gotten older, I think that's actually a really good thing. They've figured it out. Why change something when it's not broken? These cars are still selling, you know, and people still want the Prados. So make little adjustments like the engine, you know, make little adjustments like the way it looks, the safety features you can add to it. Because this car, as it sits right now, has had 13 years of R&D. So it's basically the best Prado that you can, and the best four-wheel drive in terms that Toyota really makes, because they've had so many years of experience and so many years of feedback and changing and modifications to how they build their vehicles. So for me, I actually bought this car, not because, well, because it's, you know, I guess I bought it because it's an old model. So that's all I really have to say about the reliability of it is these cars have been around since the 90s. They've had 2-3 series of the vehicle, and this series of vehicle has been around for 12 years, 13 years, and it's going great. So I really appreciate the fact that they've been tested, people know they're reliable, and they're going to work. And that's all I want in a four-wheel drive is it capable? Good. And will it work for a long period of time? They're my criteria. Now, there are a lot of other cars that have more features to them. Cool, that's great. But I think that this car that I have here has got more than enough features on it. It's got the rear sensors, great. It's got the power folding mirrors, perfect. It's got the adaptive cruise control, fine. It's got the little pop-out back. You know, I don't really need much else, you know. In terms of technology, it's got the Apple Play as well in there. Like, I mean, how much more do you need? The more things that cars have, the more things that can go wrong with them 10, 15, 20 years from now. And I know that because, you know, I have a very keen interest in performance vehicles. I have a Subaru WRX from 2012, and I see guys rebuilding cars from the 80s and 90s, and that have like, and also Mercedes as well, from similar times. And when they have more technology in them, there's more things that need to be fixed. So if I'm keeping this car for a long time, which I plan to do, and it's got a lot of technology in it, and 15, 20, 30 years from now, where it's out of warranty and I have to fix it, how am I supposed to fix something like, you know, some of the crazy technology that are on cars these days, like the 360 cameras, and, you know, a lot of it is, you know, the nighttime driving, you know, with the radar driving and stuff. Like, how do I fix that? Yeah, sure, it's probably a module or something you can buy and whatever, but it's all going to be money, you know, it's all going to be money. So for me, I think that this car, as it sits right now, has got enough technology in it for it to be safe and for me to be happy with it in terms of day-to-day driving as well. But it's also got such a little amount, I guess you can say, because it doesn't interfere with the way I drive. And when I have certain piece of technology interfering with the way I drive, I either turn it off or, you know, obviously it takes away from my driving experience. Now let's just get this out of the way, guys. The towing capacity on this car is down from other models. That's all I'll say on it. People out there that are more educated on towing than I am, please correct me if I'm wrong. Tell me in the comments if that extra 300, 400 kilos, does it actually make that much of a difference, or can you just put the water in water tanks in the car? You know what I mean? So help me out there. So like I said, you know, that's all I'll say about the towing, but I understand. Towing capacity is down, doesn't really affect me though. Toyota as a company are awesome to deal with. Obviously, I've purchased this car from John Cole Toyota. I'll leave that on there so all my viewers know where I get it from, because these cars and the cars that John Cole, you know, provide up there are so good. You know, And I want people to know where we got our car from. And they are, like, the service there is unreal. And the service makes a big difference. It makes a massive difference, because if you enjoy dealing with the people that are responsible for keeping your second biggest investment on the road, it makes a big difference in terms of having confidence in the product. So that's all I'll say on that as well, is that Toyota, in my experience, have been very good to deal with. And this dealership here, John Cole Toyota, if you're around the Cairns area, Tablelands area, whatever, you should be getting your cars from there, because they are so good. And I don't get any money for saying that, but you guys, I think, deserve to have your cars looked after by people that actually care. And the people there do. So let's talk about some of the fun stuff, shall we? Aftermarket accessories. There are so many aftermarket accessories for this car because it's been around for 13 years, you know? And I can buy stuff, a lot of the stuff from cars in 2010, 2011, still fit this one here. So stuff isn't as expensive. You know, I was looking at getting, like I said, a Jeep Gladiator. I was thinking about getting the new Hilux. You know, the aftermarket prices, the aftermarket accessory prices, they're actually very reasonable for these cars because they've been around for a long time. So you don't get that, like, that new car or that new product, I guess, tax, you could call it. So yeah, for me, all the aftermarket products I've gotten have been very reasonably priced because the car's been around for a while. Aftermarket accessories for this car I find are, one, reasonably priced, but two, I'm very excited about because there's so many options out there. You know, K-On in Australia make brilliant products. There are hundreds of companies in America, because this is sold as a Lexus GX460 in America. There's so many products for these vehicles, both here and overseas. I just have troubles with getting those products from America over here because a lot of them don't ship over here. But you know, the products are out there. So if you're someone who lives somewhere else and you're watching this because you're not too sure yourself, and you live over in a place like America or whatever, you guys have heaps of aftermarket accessories too, you know, so consider that as well. All right, guys, this is it. Let's talk about the reason why I picked a Prado wagon, soccer mum car. Why did I do it? I'm a young man, I've got no kids, I'm single. Why did I do it? You know? And it comes down to one, space. When I go camping, I like to have a lot of space. I fold down the seats, you know, I've got my drawers that I've built in this car. I can chuck all my stuff up in here. The car is massive. I can put stuff up on the roof racks. You know, I've done a camping trip with my nephew, my brother, and also one of their friends as well. And we all crammed into this thing. You know, we had plenty of room in here. We stacked it up. You know, so as a family, you could quite easily fit stuff in here. But for me, I can put my mates in here. I can put my family in here. And we have heaps of room, you know. If I had, say, maybe like a ute or something, I would probably feel like I need some sort of trailer as well. And I think people are really missing out on wagons. You know, they're so versatile, you know. You can sleep in them if you want to. You know, you can, you've got all this room on the roof as well because you don't have the drop off like canopies do. And this was another big thing. So one for me was space. I need the space. You know, I've got a lot of camera gear as well. I don't want to keep in canopies, whatever. I wanted to keep it dry. So that was one thing, was the space and the way I can use the space. And the second thing was the fact that although, yes, the car is more expensive than some models that you'll be comparing it to, but compared to, say, a ute, which is what I was going to get, I realized that if I wanted to have a similar space, which I need, I would have had to have gotten a canopy. And lead times on canopies now are 6 months, and they are basically, people are charging huge amounts for canopies. And I didn't want to go down that route. I didn't want to buy a $60,000, $70,000 ute and then spend another $15,000 on a canopy for it, or $20,000 for a canopy. So yes, a 79 series was on my list as well, but again, I would have paid the same amount for a 79 series as I would for this, and I wouldn't have a canopy, and I wouldn't have a place to store my things, and yeah. So for me, number one was the size of the vehicle for the money, and two was the fact that the way I can use the space is as good, if not better, than a ute. And yes, I understand with utes you lose the tray aspect, but you know what, if you're doing a touring setup anyway, you're losing the tray anyway, unless you have got, say, something like a lift off, or you know, you've got a pretty modular sort of setup in the back where you can take stuff on and off. I didn't want that anyway, you know, and I can fit plenty of stuff in here that I need to. And yeah, sure, I can't take maybe like a big fridge or something in the back of the, like I could in the back of a ute, but in a touring setup, it wouldn't have worked for me anyway. So this video has been a rant. I know that. But a lot of people don't understand why I went with this vehicle. And I feel like I needed to do a video of this length to really just get everything off my chest, and to say, this is why I purchased a Prado. And it's funny because a lot of my viewers and a lot of you guys out there are a lot older than me. And for me, it's actually been really refreshing having comments. Like the comments I got on my Navara was like, a lot of them are really mean. Like, and it sounds a little bit childish to say that and be like, oh, you know, the comments I got were mean, but a lot of the comments I got on that Navara were like pretty toxic. And I think it's because like a lot of the young fellas, maybe, I don't know, I'm just guessing here, but a lot of the people that were commenting before when I had the Navara truck, you know, they were just seeing what I was doing. They didn't quite understand where I was coming from. You know, I'm kind of like a bit of an old soul. I like to have, you know, my stuff a certain way, and, you know, I like my peace and quiet and all that sort of stuff. But, you know, and I'm very particular about the way I do things. And I think a lot of the young fellas didn't understand that. They didn't understand the you know, the type of canopy I had on the back of that. And it was just so, like, the comments I got from that were just so much hate. But with the Prado, it's been completely different. Like, the comments from you guys have been so positive all the time. And I think it might be the type of person, maybe I have noticed that in my analytics that the people watching my channel are quite a bit older, and that's probably because I guess Prados are more designed for people who are a bit older. And I've actually, something that's been great for me, like I've really felt like I wanted to push my channel more now that the comments are actually positive and people are actually writing positive things and I guess being constructive, you know, like I don't mind constructive criticism and that, but some of them were just like, oh, this is stupid. You know, it's like, well, you know, like that's not helpful at all. So I know, again, sorry, a little bit of a rant, but I think it's important that you guys understand from my perspective as well that, you know, now this channel is starting to grow a little bit. It's that, you know, the Prado has actually opened up a whole new, I guess, avenue for me, in that people are being constructive and people are commenting and other people are commenting, and it's actually becoming a really positive thing, and the channel has really taken a turn, I think, for the best, you know, for a really good thing. And yeah, it's just been something that I've enjoyed. So the Prado for me has actually given me, I bought this car for myself, like not for you guys. I didn't do it as some crazy YouTube build, but you know, you guys, and the Prado has, I guess, in some roundabout way, has given me, you know, has given me a bit of a drive to continue making Prado videos and to continue modifying vehicles. And, you know, our family, my dad, my mum, they bought a Prado as well. That's the Project Prado for towing. So, you know, I think this can be like a really good, you know, kind of Prado channel with outback stuff and hiking stuff. And the Prado for me has kind of given me that positive energy back, I guess, and has really drawn in a positive crowd. So part of that is because the Prado, because it's excuse me, is bringing you guys towards the channel, but it's also because of you guys too. So if you did make it this far in the video, well done, because it's been a bit of a slog. But you know, if you did make it this far, I just wanted to say thank you guys. You know, I appreciate the fact that, you know, the videos, some of these videos probably aren't for everyone. That's fine, especially this kind of long form of talk. But I appreciate the fact that the people that have been commenting has been really positive. You know, I've had the same people commenting each time, and I know who you are, and I appreciate you. So keep commenting, keep doing all that sort of stuff. Let's keep growing this channel, guys, and you know, let's keep that positive community. And for me, you know, the Prado is such a great vehicle. You know, it's been great for me. Like I said, it's brought in a lot of new subscribers for me as well. I didn't mean for that to happen, but you guys have been enjoying the Prado builds because we have 2 going now. And yeah, and let's keep this going, guys. Like this has been great, and I'm going to keep doing stuff to the Prado, little by little. You know, as I make my money. Of course, it's all based on that. But let's keep it going, guys. You know, and yeah, and it's good. So I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. If you've gotten this far, you've probably subscribed already. So thanks for that. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Heaps of Prado videos coming out, so make sure you stick around.